The Slender Man is an alleged paranormal figure purported to have been in existence for centuries, covering a large geographic area. Believers in Slender Man tie and his appearance with many other legends around the world, including Fear or the Dark Man in Scotland, the Dutch the Tanker Man, Branch Man, and the German legend of the Gier or Der Grossmann, the Tall Man. The Slender Man is being a male appearance, who what looks like a man with extremely long, slender arms and legs. He also appears to have 4 or 8 long black tentacles that protrude from his back. Though different photographs and enthusiasts disagree on this fact, and therefore it is theorized that he contract these tentacles at will. He is described as wearing a black suit, shrinkingly similar to the visages notorious Men in Black, and his name suggests appears very thin and able to stretch his limbs and torso to inhuman lengths in order to induce fear and ensure his prey. Once his arms are outstretched, his victims are put to something of a hypnotized state, or they're actually utterly helpless to stop themselves from walking into them. He is also able to create tendrils from his fingers, and that he uses their walk on a similar fashion to Dr. Octopus. The superhuman stretching ability can also be as similarly between himself and Mr. Fantastic. Whenever he absorbs, kills, or merely takes his victims to an undisclosed location or dimension is unknown till there are never any bodies or evidence left behind in his way to deduce an indefinite conclusion. His face is pale and slightly ghostly, and almost appears as if he had been wrapped in type of gauze or cloth. His facial features are also a subject of debate, and many people believe that his face looks different to each person, if it has been seen at all. He sometimes is portrayed as wearing a hat, to which sometimes a bowler or a fedora, or sometimes a top hat. He may also be seen wearing a long flowing necktie or scarf, whatever is red or gray. He often keeps his long pale hands crossed politely behind his back or hanging loosely on the sides. His suit is black, sometimes portrayed as a pinstriped in artwork, and a common misconception thanks to the many similar to Jack Skellington from The Nightmare Before Christmas. He also has long coattails to which he lets it flow proudly. He wears a long dress shoes, and they are always shine perfect, gleaming black. Much to the fascination of Slender Man is rooted to overall aura of the mystery that he is wrapped in, despite the fact that it is rumored that he kills children, almost exclusively. It is difficult to say whether or not his only objective is slaughter. Oftentimes, it is even reported that he recorded can be found in sections of the woods, and these generally tend to be suburban. He also have been reported seen with large groups of children, as many photographs portray. It is commonly, though, that he resides with the forest woods and preys on children. He seems unconcerned with being exposed by the daylight or captured in photos. It is often thought as well as that he enjoys stalking people who became overly paranoid about his existence, purposely giving them a glimpse of himself in order to further frighten them. For some reason, it seems like Slender Man very much enjoys psychologically torturing his victims. He also appears in a float or drift, and rather than a walk, which suggests the possibility of him being fertile, being rather than a creature or a man. This would also explain his remain mobile spite of his poor proportioned body. Even though Slender Man was fabricated on something's awful forms, some people have already claimed sightings. He is mostly seen at night peering through the windows and walks out of the front lone mortrests and scheduled roads. His main intentions appear to be kidnapping children, as to when it's seen near them in photographs. They usually appear shortly. Afterwards, Slender Man, who is also inspired by many stories, such as those as marble hornets, and at the end, though, his purpose remains unknown. An interesting take on the Slender Man by a Pasta member who was relying on the Marble Hornets series Evidence Facts. There was a big misconception about my pal Slender Man due to the appearance of this article. He does not have hair or a face. Everything else is correct. There is also some more questioning as to whether or not there is more than one. I find that very unlikely. It is most likely slending with your head in order to make you think that there's more than one, which he has known to do. As of now, Slendy has 4 or 3 known accomplices. There is a Hoodie, Masky, the Rake, and possibly the Opus-Eater. Not really much known about it yet, because the next episode of Noah Maxwell, ARG, has not been released yet. In the Marble Hornets, ARG, Hoodie, and the Maskies are possibly followers. In Everyman Hybrid's ARG, the Rake seems to be working with them, but we're not really sure if that's true or not. The earliest argument of the reference to the legend is with these cave paintings found in the Sierra de Chapovera in the National Park of northeast of Brazil, to which it's believed to date back as far as 9000 BC. These paintings are strangely enlonged with character, leading by a child by a hand, but makes no reference to the extra appendages. Next note for the possibility references to Slender Man comes from around 3100 BC in Lower Egypt. The references to the feast of the gods, or for the theft of Kuk, becoming a commonplace for a religion of Pharaoh Wanzer. Hydrographic cravings representing the thief were found into a pharaoh's tomb, to which it was rumored to have some kind of encounter with the entity. The carvings resemble a strange figure with multiple upper limbs. One has never seen to be found in either hieroglyphic language. The renowned German woodcutter Hans Frankenberg created at least 2 woodcuts featuring the character, as he described as Der Ritter, the Knight, during the mid-16th century, that was discovered at Hasselberg Castle in 1883. Wilson Frankenberg was well known for his realistic depiction of human anatomy, something that was unusual amongst the woodcut of time. These pictures featured a skeletal, multi-limbed character. Historians are unsure of what the exact symbol of nature of his character, with some claiming that it is personification of the religious wars that raged in Europe at the time, while the others say it represents the mysterious plagues that is have to be believed to be the reason to be mysterious, abandoning the Hasselberg Castle and a nearby village in 1543. However, many of the Frankenberg was attempting to represent the Girgoroman Man, the tall man. According to the legend, he was a fairy who once lived in the Black Forest. Bad children who crept up in the woods at night will be relentlessly chased by the tall man, who couldn't have them leave, be either caught by them or they were forced to tell their parents of their wrongdoings. Even then, there is a chilling account from an old journal dating about 1702. My child, my Lars, he's gone, taken from his bed. The only thing we found was a scrap of black clothing. It feels like cotton, but it's softer, thicker. Lars came into my bedroom yesterday, screaming at the top of his lungs that the angel's outside. I asked him what he was talking about, and he told me some nonsense of a fairy tale story about the Girgoroman. He then said he went to the groves by our village and found out that one of my cows died, hanging from a tree. I thought nothing of it at first, but now he's gone. We must find Lars and my family. We must leave before we're all killed. I am sorry, my son. I should have listened. May God forgive me. There is also a Romanian fairy tale in which tells a story about the tall man, featuring this description may have been referred to the Slender Man. The tall man stood in a clearing, dressed as a noble man. All black, shadows lay over him, dark as a cloudy midnight. He had many arms, all long, boneless, all as snakes, sharp as swords, and rift like worms and nails. He did not speak, but he made his intentions unknown. In the fairy tale, the tall man causes a mother to kill her husband and child. Before she did, slid from a fireplace and clenched her in his burning embrace. There is also an English myth referring to the tree man, whom is said to have a slim body with appendages that look like tree branches. He is only known to be seen in the woods and was used as a story that parents had told their children to work to bad behavior. There may have been a few disappearances of children that have been said to link to the tree man, but unfortunately, we're not really sure much more about this. Well, my pretties, that was The Slender Man, a classic creepypasta. My final thoughts on this story? Wow, I gotta really say, I do remember this is actually one of the most, sorry about that, my chair's squeaking. This is actually one of the most popular creepypastas I've ever seen. I mean, and that's really saying something, because when it came to this story, I honestly really have to say it's a pretty well-made story, especially with the whole concept and all that. I do really thought that this was actually pretty nice. It honestly, to be fair, it honestly really makes it pretty good. And I mean, this is me saying something. I mean, there is a couple of creepypastas based on Slender Man, but I do remember a number of narrators actually narrated this. So I thought I would actually go ahead and, read this, because I honestly really like this. It's actually a pretty good concept, and I gotta say, it's a pretty good classic story. I think I remember Miss Creepypasta narrated this as well as Mr. Creepypasta, but I do know he's narrated a few of these. There's actually a couple links to stories about him. I might consider maybe doing them, I don't know, maybe in the future. I might consider maybe reading pastas involving Slender Man, which they seem pretty good, but I'm not going to be guaranteeing when I'll get to them, though, because that's kind of hard to say. But like I said before, it's still pretty good. It's really well made. There's definitely a lot of time and effort into it, so I gotta really say it's pretty good. So, I don't know who the original creator for this story is, so if the original creator manages to come across this video, maybe he, she, or they, them can let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to give them proper credit that if they do comment and let me know. This one was a pretty good classic creepypasta. It's definitely well made. There's definitely a lot of time and effort into this story. I mean, I really am surprised, because I haven't read this story in a long time, but it's a really, truly a classic creepypasta. It's definitely well made. We all know that most creepypastas nowadays, well, even the newer ones are not that great, but I know there's some people that manage to make something decent, so yeah, I'm willing to say that. But despite that, I honestly still find this story to be fun. It's enjoyable, and I really honestly really liked it. So I definitely gotta say it's, a pretty good story. So I guess with that being said, it does have a really good concept being for the story. It's really well made, and it's definitely something that I recommend, checking out. It's pretty good. So I really gotta say, it's pretty good, to be honest. So with that being the case, and with that being said, I'm gonna sit here and just say that this is just simply my own personal opinion. And if you happen to disagree with me, that is fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these creepypastas. This is just simply my own personal thoughts. If you want to, give me some suggestions on, what your thoughts on Slender Man is. I mean, most people probably heard about this story. I don't know who did, but like I said, we're all entitled to our own opinions. I'm going to give this one a 10 out of 10. It's a classic. A good classic creepypasta. Definitely well made. I really find this story to be enjoyable. I like the concept, as well as the good grammar, sentence structuring, storyline. Basically everything about this. I mean, I haven't read. I hope more people decide to take a look at this story because it's a good classic. So I recommend those who are creepypasta narrators or are thinking about being a creepypasta narrator. I recommend they check out this this story if you haven't. So I guess with that being the case and with that being said, what did you guys personally think of this story? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what we have done personally to help make this story a lot better. Feel free to leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I'm the Lion Queen. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. And if you're new to my channel, like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out.